Hi there, my name's Aaron McCall and this is my assignment 2B, Project Build and Report for EDIT 313. So, what have I done for this assignment? Well, I've designed something for a lesson that I originally set out in assignment 1E, which was a Year 10 ICT lesson. I'll get into the collaborative technology I've chosen in a minute. But I thought I'd just make a short video talking about the lesson um, and what the lesson's about and how Slack relates to that. So, the lesson. What's it about? Well, like I said, it's a Year 10 ICT lesson. That's where I imagine this collaborative technology being used. And the lesson itself takes place within a wider unit of work right at the beginning. So this will be the first lesson of the unit, very introductory, the students wouldn't be required to know a whole lot, obviously. So the topic of the lesson would be user interface design. So we'd spend most of the lesson discussing the fundamentals and the foundational aspects of this. All throughout the lesson there would be class discussion and diagnostic style teaching. This would be a big thing, not just for this lesson, but for the whole unit of work that this lesson is a part of. Group work as well will be a major thing in this unit of work. The unit of work I keep talking about, I imagine, is a unit of work that has a lot of group work, but more importantly, centers around a final project, an orientation website for Year 7 students. This is something that the students in this unit will be expected to make together in groups, collaboratively. And that's sort of where the collaborative technology I've chosen comes into play. So anyway, we'd talk about user interface design for this lesson. There'll be a lot of class discussion involving as many students as possible in talking about the topic, and diagnostic style teaching to assess both any prior knowledge on the students' behalf as well as how well they're absorbing the content of the lesson moving forward. After all of that, the students would be introduced to Slack, the program Slack, and it would be made clear to them that this is the program we'll be using for this unit, and this is where we'll be submitting all of our work and communicating with one another outside of school time. Mainly the students within their groups will be communicating with each other through Slack outside of school time, but they'll also be able to ask the teacher questions if they feel the need to. After this, students will form groups, and this will be reflected in Slack. I'll show you in a moment. And then after all this, students will be given a homework task to complete and submit via Slack online, which will be a reflective response type task on the topic of the lesson, of course. So, moving on, Slack itself. What have I done? Well, what I've done is make a very sort of simple workspace, but one that I believe fits the purpose of this unit and for most of the unit of work moving forward. So what have I got here? I've got a workspace with a bunch of channels. There's two essential channels in this workspace, files and questions. These are channels that everyone can access at any time and submit whatever they want to them. Files channel is the one that will likely be getting used the most. This is where students will be expected to submit all of their worksheets or tasks or assignments for this unit. They will appear in here like this Word document that I put in here just as an example. This is the reflective response task that I've just done a mock-up of. It's reflected in my documentation. But files would appear in this channel like this, and the teacher would come down and mark it, and they would give feedback either here or through a direct message to the student. So that's how that would function. There's a questions channel where Students can ask questions publicly. This would be visible to everyone in the class, and the teacher would give responses to questions here. If students don't want to ask questions here, they can ask a direct question in direct messages to the teacher instead, and they can have a private conversation with the teacher instead. The rest of these channels are private channels that I've created, groups 1 to 4. In the context of this unit, these would only be relevant in the formation of the groups. But for the rest of the unit that this lesson is a part of, students would be communicating with each other in their private groups as they move forward and work on completing their final project, the orientation website project. So that's the workspace in a nutshell. Why have I chosen to use Slack? Well, simply put, because it's a perfect platform for, like I said, group collaboration and communication. It has most everything that students would need to communicate with one another and to organize each other. And generally, it would be a helpful tool to use and to foster life skills in terms of communication and collaboration, to help them understand the importance of things like that. So that's it.